I saw a thing, actually, a study that said speaking in front of a crowd is considered the #1 fear of the average person. I found that amazing. Number 2 was death. Death is number 2? This means to the average person, if you have to be at a funeral, you would rather be in the casket than doing the eulogy.
I love that.
That's great. That's great.
Like Jerry Seinfeld said, a majority of people are terrified of public speaking, but it's one of those essential skills you need throughout life.
But it doesn't always have to be scary, and Jennifer Wallace has a bunch of great tips in her new article for Glamour magazine. Jennifer joins us on set. This is so interesting. You write about this small pilot study at Harvard that showed people would rather endure pain than give a speech.
Yes, so the researchers were looking, what would we prefer? Physical pain or the pain of having to perform in front of an audience. And so they surveyed a really small group of people, and they said, would you rather give a 5-minute speech or have 5 minutes of electrical shocks going through your forearm?
Oh my goodness.
And they chose the shocks.
You have a lot of good tips in your article about overcoming the fear, and one that I think is really helpful and interesting is that you suggest interacting with the audience before you give the speech. How does that help?
Right, so if you think about your speech as a conversation instead of a lecture, you'll be freer and you'll use your normal voice. So if you're giving a small presentation or a pitch meeting, try to get there early and greet people at the door, start the conversation going, and just continue the conversation as you begin your presentation, and you'll use your same tone. You'll be more like yourself, which is really key to any successful presentation.
You also say there is an upside to feeling anxious.
Yes, so this is growing research is suggesting that if you can harness your anxiety and look at it as energy instead, it actually will help your performance. One study up at Harvard Business School asked 140 people to give a speech. Half the group, they told them to calm down, the traditional advice, calm down before your speech. The other half, they said, think of it as excitement. Your sweaty palms, your racing heart, that's being excited about this. And it sort of put them in a growth mindset, and they performed better, according to the judges.
So it's more mental in terms of how you
approach it. It's all mental, yes.
All right, and so how about in terms of memorizing your speech? Should you memorize the whole thing, just parts of it, key bullet points?
Right, so one of my tips is to memorize the first 30 seconds, which is really the hardest part for anyone, the start. It'll keep you on autopilot when you're your most nervous, and it will build a confidence that you'll see through the rest of your speech.
You also say to pause a lot, and someone who's known for doing this is none other than President Obama. Let's go ahead and listen.
A little bit later, you're going to hear from a guy who I hear has been talking about launching a potential political career. You may have heard about this. Kanye is thinking about running for Speaker of the House.
All right, there he was clearly pausing for the audience applause lines and all of that. But why is that such an important part, you think, of giving a speech?
Right, Obama is the master pauser, and so it does a couple of things. One, it helps your audience process what you're saying, so they'll be more responsive, and then you'll be more responsive to them. But it also exudes authority and confidence. Your audience should be listening to you. It says, pay attention to me. And it helps to give you confidence even if you're not feeling it exactly in the moment.
Okay, excellent tips. Jennifer Wallace for Glamour magazine. Thank you so much.
Thanks.